Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars.
SoundCartel.
From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. Consumers are becoming a lot more conscious about what they buy, where they buy it, and how much they're willing to pay. And they're much more inclined to wait for a sale and grab a bargain. Richard Thame is CEO of CouriersPlease, Australia's leading franchised parcel delivery service. He's leveraging the huge shift to online purchasing that hit during COVID and has only grown since then. He says despite cost of living pressures, consumers still like to treat themselves. Richard's talking to Chris Ashmore.
Rather than people being incredibly extravagant, I think that what we'll continue to see is people looking for convenience, looking for great deals. They'll continue to buy the essentials that we'll need to and to support families. We probably won't spend as much on luxury goods, and we're certainly seeing that with our customers and the way that they're behaving at the moment. Interestingly, we saw a record-breaking Christmas sales run, and that really kicked off with record-breaking Black Friday sales, and that extended all the way into Christmas. So we're certainly seeing that people are buying a lot earlier for those major sales events. They're saving up for them, and they're incredibly active when those big events are run.
So is that a lesson for businesses then, that consumers are conscious of waiting for sales to happen and perhaps sell discounted prices during a sale period?
Yeah, I think it is. I think they're always looking for a great deal, but they're looking for great value as well. The other thing I'd say is that I think as Australians, we do put a lot of trust in great brands, and we like the convenience. We also buying online, but we also want to make sure that we're getting good quality. So if I'm buying a certain brand and I know they've got my size and I know that they can deliver quickly, and in the event that I do need to return it, that they've got a good returns, cost-effective and easy-to-access returns option, then we're really seeing those brands build incredible loyalty with their customers. And they're the ones that are getting the repeat purchase all year round.
Right. We've seen a lot of changes in technology, of course, in the way that businesses communicate with not only potential customers, but sort of loyal customers. And those SMS messages are becoming very common, but are they becoming a bit of a nuisance, and are consumers sort of not looking at those messages anymore?
I think they are, and I think we've all become a lot more security conscious, and rightly so. And if you cast your mind back to when we all started to buy online, I mean, the big fear factor then was putting your credit card down and, oh my goodness, who's going to have access to it? And now it's generally accepted that there are good security protocols in place, and certainly the big online retailers have invested a huge amount of money in that space. We're seeing a similar change with SMS messaging, where people are more inclined to rely on an app, or in fact feel more secure with an email these days than they do with an SMS, simply because there are just so many scams out there. And there's also the practical reality that you don't want your phone pinging all the time. When you consider the amount of messages you get from social media, from your friends, family, from your boss, there's a limit to how much of that we can consume. So I think people are looking for retailers that offer a really reliable service. So when I buy it, I know what I might be getting at the same day if I'm paying a premium, or I can rely on them to deliver it the next couple of days. And I'm not as conscious these days of checking my phone all the time for those delivery details. And if there is an app that's there, then I can access that and get the information when I want it, rather than being bombarded by random messages all the time.
You know, Mazars have been a long-time supporter of SoundCartel, and now they're helping us bring you this podcast. To find out how Mazars can support your business, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.
What other consumer trends are you seeing at the moment?
I think the big one is that Amazon's really taught many Australians how to shop differently and really put the challenge out there to retailers. I think there's also a general expectation among consumers that if I want something straight away, I can get it. I do need to pay a premium for that. But if I want to go out tonight and I'm desperate for a new outfit, then I can get it if I'm prepared to pay for it. The other thing we're seeing is just the rise of the subscription economy. And a lot of people have talked about it for a long time, but those general things that that you need to buy that aren't particularly exciting or emotional purchases. So whether it's household detergents or whether it's businesses like, Who Gives a Crap, who've done a great job with their toilet paper delivery business, or dog food or pet supplies generally, a lot of those things people are having delivered. And it's also, I think people are shopping differently. We like to go out shopping these days as part of a social experience. We don't necessarily want to carry heavy items home. So a lot of those heavier routine purchases can be done online now. And we've got pretty good systems to make sure that people can have those things delivered reliably and turn their in-person shopping experience into a far more enjoyable one.
Now, just on that, Richard, from your position as CEO of CouriersPlease, how has online retail changed the way consumers spend their money?
I think, there's what I call the opportunistic purchases. It's just so easy to buy online. So there is that kind of indulgence aspect of shopping these days that you can be at home, you can have a glass of wine and you can instantly buy something. So I certainly think that that's been a huge change to the way that we shop. And I think the other thing that we've noticed in our business, particularly in working with a large portfolio of retail customers over the last couple of years, is that people are looking for convenience all round. So if it's an expensive item that I'm buying, well, then perhaps I do want some more enhanced tracking. I do want to make sure that I'm signing for it and that it's greeting the person at the door. But if it is a lower value item and I'm not home and I just want it delivered, then I want to have the option for that just to be left at my door. Or if I live in an apartment block and it's difficult to make that delivery, I'm quite happy to use a network of stores. I'm quite happy to go and pick that up from the local store if it's just walking a couple of blocks away.
And in terms of what the changes that you've encountered at CouriersPlease, technology would be a massive tool, I suppose, that you've been using to run the business.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's interesting, I suggest, Chris, that we'll spend just as much, if not more money in technology and on technology in the next couple of years than we will on trucks and vans. And that's simply because customers have an expectation these days. We've got an enormous amount of information when you think about it. And if I'm delivering, and as I said before, with the rise of the subscription economy, if I'm delivering to you every Tuesday or every second Tuesday, and I know that you're not home and you know that you're not home, then it makes sense to use that information in a way that benefits you as a customer and in a way that helps our cost base to remain low as well, so that we can pass that saving on to you to come up with a smarter way to execute that delivery. One of the big frustrations for customers is getting something delivered when they're not home and getting a card in their letterbox to say, hey, we weren't able to make that delivery. So if we can use that information to provide what we call delivery choices to customers, so whether that's either electing to have a particular item left at their front door or delivered to a neighbour or to an alternative location, it just makes it a better experience and a more cost-effective one for everybody as well.
Absolutely. Now, before we go, it's tough now for businesses, but how do you see 2024 and beyond?
Look, I think it is tough out there, but when you look back over history, the businesses that have done really well are those that really understand their customer and are able to provide great value. So we're certainly out there actively working with businesses that do provide great value. They're able to keep their costs really low. And at the end of the day, we know that people will continue to shop. We think they're going to shop more online than they ever have before as well. We know they'll be looking out for great deals. And certainly we'd encourage people to continue to invest in technology as well and making it easier for their customer to do business.
That was Richard Thame, CEO of CouriersPlease. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow at BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.